Hello, everyone. Welcome to Free Write Friday. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica Lynn Johnson, and I'm the founder and CEO of Soaring Solo Studios International. And it's a company that is dedicated to the development, direction, producing, coaching, all things solo theater related. And I work alongside Heather Dowling. She's another award-winning solo theater director, instructor and coach, and also performer. So let me tell you a little bit about me and us and what we do to get us started here today. We get to work with people all over the world on the development of solo shows. And I'm a solo artist myself. I toured for over 13 years with my first two solo shows. The first one was called Oblivious to Everyone, and the second solo show was called Z. And I've aided in the direction and development of over 175 solo shows and have produced hundreds. Certainly my passion. I am a director for the LA Women's Theater Festival and also on their submission screening panel periodically. I write a blog called Soaring Solo for the NoHo Arts website. So if you ever go to the NoHo Arts website and look up Soaring Solo, you'll see a bunch of blogs with a bunch of tips for you about the solo theater world. So that's a little bit about me. I would love to hear about you. If you want to say hi in the chat, you're welcome to say where in the world you're tuning in from, and maybe anything about where you're at in your solo theater journey right now. Maybe you're new to solo, you don't even know if you want to write a solo show, or maybe you're already touring or have a first draft written. Wherever you're at is perfect. Um, and the mission of Free Write Friday is just once a month to get together on a Friday and get some writing done in creative community together. Sometimes carving out the time can be the hardest part about it. So it's just nice to have the community support and accountability of being here together. And if you ever miss a Free Write Friday, you can always go to my YouTube channel and catch all of the Free Write Friday sessions and hundreds of videos. I have lots of videos on my channel to support you in your solo theater journey, all for free. Let's see what else. So just make sure you have something nearby you today to write with or write on, or if you're someone who likes to walk around and record yourself and then transcribe it later, you can do that. I've heard really good things about Otter. Otter is an app, I guess, that a lot of my clients use that transcribes for you, and you can just speak into it. So that is recommended from some of my clients. Okay, so today's talking point, I'd like to focus on character arc, the character arc. So in an ensemble show, this tends to be something that people have front of mind, thinking about the character's arc of the character that they're playing. But in solo theater, especially if it's autobiographical, we don't tend to think of our stories in that way in terms of who were we at the beginning of our story and who did we become at the end of the story. But it's really important to have an entertaining solo show and to have it truly feel like a play. We need to make sure that our characters have an arc within the show. So to expand upon that a little bit, really the idea of an arc, if you haven't heard that term before and how I mean it today, is thinking specifically about the way that the character evolves, the shifts in their personality or their beliefs, their understanding of the world. Lots of different circumstantial things, internal and external, can be part of the arc, but essentially it's who you are at the beginning of the story, who you are at the end. And in a solo show, a lot of times they are autobiographical. We play ourselves. It's almost like a memoir on stage, but sometimes it's not. It's biographical or fantasy or some blend of all of that. Either way, whoever the protagonist of the solo show is, and I would say all the subsequent characters as well, should have arcs. Even if, I was just talking about this with a client the other day, even if a character in your show only has a couple of lines, still, what is their experience in the show? And how do they have a little mini arc in the time that they appear on stage? When you're that specific with your work, it really shows up and improves the overall performance. So some key aspects of a character arc that I would say to think about are, is it internal or external? Is this maybe the character is overcoming a sense of fear or perfectionism or some sort of trauma or something? Is it external? Their relationship status, their financial status, their job security, the external changes that can lead to the arc. And also, when we think of types of arcs, we might always be thinking in terms of positive. So we meet them in not so great of a place, and then at the end of the show, they have a positive arc and they're in this great position or better position. And that is one type of an arc, but we can also have a negative character arc where we meet them, in a better place than where we leave them at the end of the story, or what is known as a flat character arc, where there's not really much of a change. Who they were at the start and who they were at the end is pretty much the same. I tend to not like flat character arcs because to me that a lot of times equates boring, but not always. Sometimes a flat character arc can be really intentional to show that we're trying to demonstrate how life can be mundane sometimes, or how we don't always change in the areas that we wish we could, or that the world isn't changing in the way that we wish that it would, and things stay the same. So it can be useful sometimes to have a flat arc. So just some examples from within the Soaring Solo community. There's a show called There's Something Seriously Wrong with Cyrus that I had the pleasure of directing and developing. And, in the beginning of the show, we meet Cyrus as this kind of insecure little kid who's closeted and not comfortable with his sexuality and all of that. And then through a series of events, he grows into a man who is very secure in himself and living his authentic life and pursuing his purpose and all of those things. So that's an example of his arc. Or in the show Buen Camino by Susan Edsel, which I also had the pleasure of working on, we meet Susan as kind of a suicidal, depressed widow at the beginning of the show with not much of a sense of getting up tomorrow, let alone a purpose. And by the end of the show and the series of events that happen in the middle of the show, she becomes acquainted with her purpose on the planet and is a much more healed person who is a passionate creative artist and ready to go out and live the life of her dreams. So those are two examples of positive arcs. But again, there's different ways that can show up. So for today, I'm going to set my timer for 8 minutes. And what I want you to think about, what I'd love for you to drop into right now is, who are you today? Who are you right now in this moment? And what are the different aspects of your life? What's your relationship status? What's your financial status? Where are you living? How are your character flaws, character defects? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What's your spiritual belief system? Like really just kind of taking an assessment of who you are right now. And then I want you to think of a time in your life when you were quite different than that. So maybe that was a year ago, maybe that was 10 years ago, childhood. And what you're going to write about today is the arc between those two places. So the starting point being the place of difference when you were different to who you are now. And just let yourself free write about who you were, who you are, and what happened in between to contribute to that arc in character, that change, that evolution, that transformation in who you were and who you've become. So try not to be perfectionistic about it. This is just an exercise to get you thinking about this sort of thing when you're writing. But we're going to go ahead and jump in. If you have questions, you can privately message me in the chat, but otherwise, go ahead and start writing, and I'll tell you when your 8 minutes are up. Little over 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. Just under a minute left. Okay, please go ahead and wrap up your writing. Hopefully, you got something interesting out of that experience. And let me just say a takeaway to consider from that prompt today is when you are approaching your solo show, whether it's autobiographical, biographical, fantasy, whatever it is, just be thinking, how do my characters change from the beginning of the show until the end of the show? What is their arc? And there's no throwaway characters. So, again, every character, whether they are small or a large role, you always want to be thinking about their arc. And this keeps the show, when you think about the character arc, it keeps the show from just feeling like a series of jokes or stories or anecdotes, and it actually weaves it together to feel like a play where we're watching a hero go on a journey of transformation, evolution, and change. So something to think about. So as we wrap up today, I'm just going to roll through some exciting announcements and things that are going on in the Soaring Solo community. So if you want to get more involved, you can. I put all of it in the chat. So feel free to jot down some notes about what's going on. But my free class, The Art of Creating the One Person Play, is happening on Saturday, July 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. You just sign up through my website under free stuff. It's been going on for almost 2 decades now, so totally free class. You can come as often as you'd like. And yeah, you just sign up to get your Zoom link through my website. And you can just show up. You don't have to have anything written. I will give you a writing prompt in class. And if you want to share in class, you may. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And if you're ever curious about working with Heather or myself in a more professional capacity, you can just email me at soaringsoloartist@gmail.com, and we can talk about which of our offerings might be a good fit for you, or just set up an initial consultation to discuss if moving forward with Soaring Solo is the right fit for you. Um, we also produce a virtual reading series called Revealed, and that's a really wonderful stake to put in the ground. Revealed is where we produce your reading of your solo show script as a rough draft in front of a virtual audience. And then we have a robust conversation with the audience afterwards to see what's working, what's not working, what was clear, what wasn't clear. And that's a really great way for you to have an important goal that you're working toward with your solo show, and also not put the not get ahead of yourself with the script by memorizing it and adding tech and going to a theater and performing it before you even know if the script is working. So Revealed is a wonderful way to get involved with the community, get some feedback, and find out if your script is where it needs to be staged and produced and all that good stuff. And if you enjoyed today and you want to come back, next one's happening, the next Free Write Friday is happening on Friday, August 22nd at 1:15 Pacific, 3:15 Central, 4:15 Eastern. Sign up the same way you did today, and you'll get your Zoom link and all that good stuff. And again, you can go onto my YouTube channel and watch back all the different Free Write Fridays and lots of other videos. I have tutorials, I have guided visualization meditations to help you with writing, getting writing prompts and things like that. And then I always speak really highly of getting involved in the festival circuit. I think wherever you are in the world, there tends to usually be a festival of art or theater, or a fringe festival or something like that. Or you can travel to do your show in a festival. But being a part of a festival is beneficial for so many ways. It enforces deadlines and makes you put a really meaningful stake in the ground. It's an accolade, it's a laurel on your resume for participation in an organized festival. A lot of times it can put you in the running for awards, to get reviews by both audiences and critics. And a lot of times it'll offer you more than one opportunity to do your show. Not always, but there are festivals that allow you to do a run, like the Hollywood Fringe Festival. So there's the Binge Fringe Festival at the Santa Monica Playhouse, Orlando Fringe, the Hollywood Fringe Festival, LA Women's Theater Festival, which is currently taking submissions. So be sure to check out the LA Women's Theater Festival website, lawtf.org, if you want to submit your show. And then Heather and I produce the Soaring Solo Star series, which we do in the fall or the winter each year. This year it's happening the end of October into the beginning of November. So be on the lookout for more information about that. And then, as I mentioned, my blog called Soaring Solo, you can find on the NoHo Arts website, and I put the link in the chat there. And then I'm also really excited. We're kicking off the Solo Labs again. Solo Labs are webinars that we do. You can either come to them live or get your ticket and watch the replay later. But they are solo labs that are taught by solo artists for solo artists. The next one is by Celeste Walker, and it's about preparing, performing, and producing your solo show. Celeste has done 3 solo shows. I know the one that I worked on with her on was autobiographical, but she also did a biographical solo show. And then I forget what the third one was. I wasn't involved with that one, but all to say she has a lot of experience with solo theater. She's also a college professor of theater, has her master's, is exceptionally talented, and she's going to be talking about all the different aspects: touring, writing, playing characters, the technique, the technical aspects of a show, from lighting design and adding projections and sound cues, and working with different directors, working virtually versus working in person, being involved in festivals and also independent productions. So it's a lot. We're going to cover a lot. It's a 90-minute workshop. It's only $29, and that is going to be on Friday, August 1st, at 12:30 Eastern. She's in Philly. She's going to be tuning in from Philadelphia. We're going to do this on Zoom. So again, if that time and date doesn't work for you, no big deal. Just make sure you go on Eventbrite and get your ticket, and I'll send you the recorded link, and any subsequent materials she might include. So that's going to be awesome. So those are some things happening in our community. It was wonderful to spend time with you all today. I'm going to hop off, but I will leave the chat up for a little longer in case you're writing down notes or chatting with one another. But I will see you next time, and enjoy your weekend.